Wake up.
It's your early breakfast
with Africa Melane.
When does gambling become a financial lifeline? That's a question we're exploring with the Senior Program Manager from Old Mutual. That's Thabo Hollo. Thabo, a very good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning and thank you, Africa.
It was worrying to read at your latest Savings and Investment Monitor 2026 that 53% of working South Africans gamble. I imagine we're talking here about the whole ambit, right? From doing the daily lotto all the way to going to a casino, right?
Absolutely. It includes sports betting. It includes almost like a physical structure in terms of the casinos. Including bingo, by the way. So it cuts across, yes.
And I imagine some, if not many, gambling because the amount of money that they're earning is not enough for them to meet their monthly obligations.
It certainly is the finding on our side. But before I even get there, we must not forget that there's also a segment of people that view gambling as innocent entertainment. And those are the people that we must exclude out of this particular discussion. What we're seeing, unfortunately, is a worrying trend of people that are becoming more and more reliant on gambling as a means to cover even the basic expenses or their living expenses. So that is the part of the market or the part of the consumers that have fallen into almost like a trap in terms of gambling. And that is a concern, quite frankly, in terms of the numbers that we've seen from OMSIM and other pieces of research. Yes.
I suppose I'm lucky enough because when I was very much younger, in a dream, I was told I was never going to win any money from gambling. So I've never tried it in any way whatsoever. But if you are going to gamble, and yes, you're going to win sometimes, you must hopefully be winning sufficiently in order for you to go, I know, I'll take my entire wages, I'll go and gamble it in the hopes that I'll make it back at the very least, but even make back some more. But sadly, the reality is the majority of people will lose their money, won't they?
I certainly never had that dream, unfortunately. But the truth of the matter is that let's look at the ratio, right? So far, we as a people have spent close to 1.5 trillion rands in terms of our gambling. The winning is only 26%. So that tells you that the majority of the people are actually not winning. So yes, you when you go into gambling, you go in it with the hope that you would certainly win. But the illusion of winning actually kicks on. We think we are winning, but what we're not looking at is actually we're losing more than we are winning. The reality of the matter is the house always wins. There's more going out than coming in terms of the amount that you're putting out on gambling. It is true that in as much as we have that illusion that we are actually winning something, the reality of the matter is we are losing more than we are winning.
The National Gambling Board saying that 55% of identified problem gamblers are between 25 and 34. We really need to focus on that younger working adult sector, don't we?
We absolutely must. So there's a couple of things in there. Firstly, it's a concern that this is the market that should be saving. This is the market that should be studying, if not solidifying their lives in terms of the finances. But what we're seeing, they almost want that instant gratification in terms of their finances. So instead of waiting out the period to say, I'm going to be saving and I'm going to manage my finances prudently, we almost want to have it now. That's instantaneous then. It's the problem in that particular market. And yes, it is also that market that tends to feel a little bit of pressure. So you're starting out in life, your income might not necessarily be the best yet. But instead of living within your means, your aspirations tell you that you deserve more. So as a result, you go into habits that are not necessarily prudent in terms of your earning potential and your spending ability. So we see that there is the cohort that would tend to spend more than they earn or have much more unrealistic expectations in terms of what they should be spending against what they're earning. So as a result, they augment, or they tend to want to augment their income using gambling. So that cohort, yes, needs special attention. That younger cohort does need special attention in terms of gambling, yes.
Thabo, when we started, you deliberately and intentionally excluded those who are gambling for entertainment. When do we know that we have shifted from doing it because it's fun to doing it because we have to? When
it starts showing up in our finances in a negative way, for example, once you start seeing tendencies such as borrowing for gambling purposes, that should tell you that we have a problem. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be borrowing money simply to cover your gambling debts. That's the first thing. Secondly, when you start shifting your money from essentials to gambling. So if you have allocated a particular amount for your groceries, for your rent, for your basics really, and you start moving that money from those basics into gambling, that also is a sure sign of problems. But in cases of people that are partners, married or unmarried, but they live together, when people start hiding their finances, so suddenly we're no longer sharing that bank statement, no longer planning together. But that could also be an indication of something going wrong in terms of our finances as it relates to gambling. So those are some of the manifestations in terms of gambling moving from just purely entertainment to being something that is of a distress and concern.
And when you find yourself in that scenario, do seek help. There are avenues and platforms available for you to say, you know what, I think I'm addicted to gambling. I have a problem. And people on the other end of the line will be able to help you hopefully navigate yourself out of that troubled water, right?
Most certainly. However, I want to also shift the challenge to family members, to friends, to partners, to say, when you start picking up some of these behaviors, it would also help to have open and frank, non-confrontational really conversations, to say, friend, brother, partner, I'm seeing this, and offer a hand of support. So being judgmental, being abrasive really, might not necessarily help the situation. In many an instance, and we know in cases of addiction, some of us are not aware that we might be addicted. Yes, there might be one or two people that say, hey, I think I have a problem, but what are the odds? But there's people that are around you, your friends, your family members, your partners, that could see and start seeing the challenges that you could be experiencing as it comes to gambling. So it would help for them to say, friend, I see a problem, perhaps I should help, and go with that way, but without necessarily being aggressive, judgmental, etc., etc.
Good advice, Thabo. Thank you very much indeed. Thabo Hollo is the Senior Program Manager at Old Mutual, reflecting on the Old Mutual Savings and Investment Monitor 2026, suggesting that 53% of working South Africans are gambling.